When it comes to image storage solutions, we've used a lot of options out there, and we find that there's basically three brands that we highly recommend. One is Drobo, one is Geforce, and the last is Synology. Now, all three of these companies make great products, and each of them vary in very different ways, which means that they all have their pros and they have their cons. We're going to kind of teach you about each of these in this video, and we're going to let you guys decide on which basically system is going to work best for your workflow and for your preferences. Now, all three of these brands create devices that support RAID 1, which is a redundant RAID. And basically what that means is that you have multiple hard drives inside of each device. And when you choose the correct options, what it's going to do is going to use those additional hard drives to basically back up your data. That way, if one hard drive goes out, you still have the rest of your images intact. The drive will tell you that a hard drive went out and that you need to replace it immediately. That way, if you lose another drive, you don't actually lose your data. But some of these drives can actually withstand basically 1, 2, or even 3 drives going out before your images are lost. Now I want to briefly go over the pros and cons of each of these brands and devices, starting with Drobo. Now, as photographers, you've probably heard of Drobo. They're the most marketed storage solution in photography, or among photographers, and they're kind of known for their simplicity, their ease of use. From their graphical user interface in the actual software itself to the actual unit itself, it's all very well designed and very simple. Now, Drobo is known to be a little bit slower than the other devices, and I would watch out for basically older Drobo units that may not support faster interfaces such as USB 3 or eSATA. So get new drives, and even then, Drobo still suffers a little bit from performance issues when compared to something like Geforce or Synology. So you're kind of trading off basically ease of use and simplicity, something that looks nice and is kind of polished, for that slight lack of performance that those other drives offer. But still, it's a great solution and it's very simple and easy to use. Now moving on, we have Geforce. Now Geforce is actually very well known in the film and videography industry because these drives are better known for their performance. Now there are a little bit more reliability issues, and that kind of comes with the territory. You have performance drives that operate at a faster speed. Their failure rates are going to be a little bit higher, but again, they still have the backup solution. But just know that they're not quite as reliable as, say, Drobo or Synology. Now, both Drobo and Synology are devices that plug directly into your computer, and this is important to recognize because Synology is not. Synology is what's called a NOS, or a network attached storage device. Now, there's some benefits to network attached storage versus direct attached media or devices like Drobo and like Geforce. Basically, Lightroom is unable to open up catalogs from network locations. This means that if you're running a Synology drive and you transfer images or you transfer your catalog to the Synology, you can't actually open that catalog from the Synology. You have to transfer it back to your machine before you can open up the Lightroom catalog. You can still move around the images just like a regular file system. It works just like a regular drive. You just can't open Lightroom because Lightroom does not work off of network storage devices. On the other hand, Geforce and Drobo will run the Lightroom catalog directly from those drives. So this is an important feature that you need to decide whether or not is important inside of your workflow and in your studio. Now for us, it's very important. We actually have 6 different post-production workstations, all of which need access to those images. And so the Synology is basically the only option for us because it allows every machine to have an equally fast connection through the network interface. So every machine has a 1000 megabit connection to that Synology drive. The Synology acts more like a server in that basically it has an internal computing system basically, so anybody can pull things directly from the Synology and it's not going to slow down. It's going to serve files equally across the board to all those workstations. But that comes at a cost. We can't open Lightroom files directly from the server. But there's also benefits on the other side as well. As a Synology unit acts more like a server, you can actually control user access. So let's say there's important company files that you don't want certain people to see. Well, you can set up folders where only certain people can see those, and they're going to access it through a username and a password. You can set up certain folders like in our studio for video and for stills. So we have basically 2 different workflows for each, and we have different computers that can access different folders on the same Synology. They're also very quick and they're very well built. They're more what we call kind of business and enterprise class solutions, but they're also priced very affordably. So they're priced pretty similarly to, say, a Drobo or a Geforce solution as well, but they're very reliable units and they're very well made. So at this point, you should have a good basic understanding of the different storage solutions that are available to you, as well as the storage solutions that we recommend you use. Now at this point, I would say go out, do a little bit of research based on your current needs and based on your future needs for your studio. At that point, decide which one of these storage solutions is going to best fit those needs and best fit your workflow.